What's going on, you guys? Strange Religion here out of Midnight Nation with an informational video on the basics of UR crafting. I'd like to start off and say that reasonably, for the average player, you can probably expect to get your first piece of UR gear in roughly 6 to 10 weeks. So definitely no rush for the majority of people, and if you have a lot of resources on hand and you play very efficiently, you could probably see your first UR in 2 to 4 weeks, as long as it's a normal piece of UR. If you're going for a rare piece of UR, it's going to take substantially longer, and that's because in order to get a normal weapon to UR grade, it's going to take 15 recipes, and in order to get 15 recipes, you're going to have to craft those with 10 Ripped Recipe Fragments each, for a total of 150 Ripped Recipe Fragments and 22.5 thousand scraps. Now you're going to have more than enough scraps to craft and more than enough radiant stones. What you're going to be mostly lacking is these Ripped Recipe Fragments. If you go into the item workshop and you go to item workshop salvage, you'll be able to check how much stuff you can salvage, but we'll go ahead and go over a couple of it right now. If you salvage a normal grade weapon that's of SR quality, you're going to get 3 of those Ripped Recipes, and if you salvage a rare weapon that's SR1, you're going to get 7. So you're going to get significantly more by salvaging rares. You do need 150 Ripped Recipe Fragments for a normal weapon, and then you're going to need at 30 each, a total of 450 Ripped Recipe Fragments to make a rare piece of gear UR. Now this is weapons. For armor, it's going to take about 2/3 as many resources, but crafting your weapons to UR is the priority here. The majority of players that I've talked to and seen on Reddit have agreed that crafting your elite weapon to UR first is the priority in order to maximize how many bosses you can farm in the PK dungeon. The laboratory is going to be an okay place to get Ripped Recipe Fragments and straight recipe drops. Some of the bosses in the lab have a very small chance of dropping an actual recipe, which would save you a lot of time, especially if you got a rare recipe like a PvP or a magical attribute. That would save you 30 Ripped Recipe Fragments. That is quite a few. That's going to save you a 15th of the resources that you needed. Now, the best place, well, I'd say the easiest place to get your Ripped Recipe Fragments for basically free once per day is going to be from your clan shop. You get 1 Ripped Recipe Fragment every day for 50 clan coins. So that's going to be 7 a week. And then assuming that each player can salvage 1 SR piece of equipment every week that's normal, you're getting 10 per week, which would take 15 weeks. But Netmarble has actually made it a lot easier with this event that we have going right now, this journey event, the UR Equipment Crafting Journey. This journey event is giving you tons and tons of pages, Adina, actual equipment, and lots of Ripped Recipe Fragments. In total, it's going to give you 20. It's going to give you 20 Ripped Recipe Fragment pages, thousands of red diamonds, lots of varnish, and S through SR equipment. Down here on the corner, you're going to get your first piece of SR, which you can then immediately salvage for 3 Ripped Recipe Fragments. So,
I know what I'm putting you through. Thank you for saying yes.
Thank you, Johnny, for that huge subscription. I really appreciate it, man. Welcome to Midnight Nation. Royalty, thank you for subscribing during the YouTube video. Much obliged. So, although UR crafting material can be obtained from a variety of sources, such as the bosses in the lab, you're going to get lots of scraps from the non-PK dungeon and in the field. The best place to get those Ripped Recipes is going to be from rare gear. So salvaging the rare gear for the 7 pages is going to be your best bet. Now, in order to do this, in order to get that gear up to SR, we found, or at least I think that we found, that the best way to do that is going to be to salvage your radiant stones. So if you go into the daily dungeon on Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Tuesdays, we're going to be pulling Radiant Upgrade Stones. It's a really, really good value. Resetting the daily dungeon on Hell multiple times a day is probably going to be the current best use of red diamonds, specifically for this purpose. So to give you a quick example, we're going to go ahead and recharge Instant Clear. So for 200 red diamonds, we did pick up a Radiant Stone. Now if we go into Item Workshop Salvage, we can then salvage those Radiant Stones, which is a really good thing to do, because you only need 10 for your UR gear, And you can reasonably get 10 in 2 or 3 weeks compared to the Ripped Recipe Fragments, which are going to take way longer to get. So we'll go ahead and salvage these 2, and it's going to give us 20 upgrade stones. Now we're going to use those upgrade stones to try to get gear of R rank or better to SR. So we'll go ahead and salvage a couple things really quick and see what we can get. Salvaging the rares is going to be the most important thing to do. So we do have a rare PvP boots already at grade R. So we got that guy up, and then we'll go ahead and upgrade him using those stones that we just picked up. And then we also got a box from that event that gave us a guaranteed R grade weapon. So it doesn't really matter what you choose. We'll just choose Staff of Life. And then you want to use your salvage that you get from TG. So TG is going to be another good use of red diamonds every day, especially right now because you're going to get keys for the new events. But if we go to the normal dungeons and we check out TG, TG V-Hard and TG Hell Mode are going to be the best things to use your red diamonds for outside getting those radiant stones. So you're going to go ahead and reset that once or twice per day in order to get that R grade varnish and then the SR grade varnish once we get to level 218. So between the radiant stones being salvaged into normal stones and then V-Hard and Hell Mode giving you R and SR varnish, we should be able to get at least one item to SR grade per week for salvaging purposes. We're not going to quite make it with this weapon, but you get the point. You're going to be taking S's, A's, and R's and combining them, doing a lot of A plus A, S plus S, and R plus R combines to get to that SR so we can salvage. Thank you for that big follow, my friend. And then if you have the stones on hand, which we barely have any weapon stones right now, I actually don't even know if we have 30. We only have 10. But in order to get to 30, we can easily reset the daily dungeon. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we fully reset Thursday's armor. We'll go ahead and head over to Sunday and recharge that. Picking up... Oh, no! Oh, God, I accidentally recharged V-Hard. Make sure you choose Hell, guys. That's going to give you that Radiant Stone. Accidentally cleared V-Hard there for 4 normal stones. So we screwed ourselves out of 6 stones. Not the biggest deal, but keep in mind on other days worth of recharging, you can only choose one other day for 200. So I always recommend choosing Sunday. That way you get your own Radiant Upgrade Stone selection box. And then you can hold on to that to figure out what you want to salvage for stones. So we could have done Tuesdays for 200, or we could do Tuesdays again for 400, but you can only do Sundays one time for 200. So we're going to go ahead and call that a day on that one, and then we'll do a little bit of salvaging. Make sure you don't salvage equipment that you need or that you're using. So here comes an SR. You are going to get the same amount of Ripped Recipe Fragments as you would a weapon. That's something that I didn't know, and that's very useful. And we do need 150 of these, and we're on our way to having 18, and hopefully a lot more by the end of this week. Alright, that's it for that, you guys. Good luck getting to UR. Definitely expect it to take a long time, and a lot of the items in the shop are very expensive, so I don't necessarily recommend buying those. But this $50 weekly package does give you 1 recipe, and so I recommend if you're going to spend money and if you're going to buy that, only use that to get a rare recipe, because that'll save you 30 pages instead of the 10 from a normal recipe. So make sure you're choosing a rare weapon UR recipe out of that box. Alright, thank you very much, guys. See you around. See ya around. Alright, done and done.